Hi and welcome. This video is part of my Photoshop Creative Composites workshops, and what I want to do is to just take a moment and quickly go through like a start to finish of this image here. Now sometimes with creative compositing you have an idea, you know where you're going, and you've just got to figure out how to get there. Sometimes it just evolves. You start off with a texture and you add this and you add something else and you add a colour, and you eventually get to a point where you find a pleasing result that you like. And this was very similar to that. I started off with not really an idea where I was going with it, but then very quickly it crystallised and I figured out where I wanted to go with it. Okay, well, that said, let's dig in. Okay, this is the file that I started with, and let's just take everything away. I'm just going to take everything away but the first layer, and this is the layer that I started with, and it's a combination of two textures, and all I did was basically I put one texture, I laid another texture on top of it, I transformed it so it was at an angle, and then I smudged using the blur tool and the smudge tool this transition here just to fade it in so that it wasn't a straight line. Okay, and then I thought I'd add some brushes for a little bit of foreground interest. So here you can see I've got a group, and if I turn that group on, you'll see that here we've got some brushes that I've just put on two separate layers. Oh, it's three separate layers. Right, okay. And you can see I've basically got some brushes on individual layers, and I've turned them and flipped them so they interact together quite well. So I've got three sets, and really, if I wanted another piece in that edge piece there, then I could duplicate it and put it in, but I'll just leave it there for the moment. And I've put them into a group, so it just tidies it up so that all my seaside flowers are all together. Right, next I thought, well, that looks all right. I'm liking where that's going, but what I'll do, I'll just colorise it a little bit. So I added a colour balance layer, and I just thought I'd warm it up a little bit, and I thought that gave it a little bit of oomph. And then I thought, oh, I'll try a colour lookup. And if I click to put that colour lookup on, the colour lookup, if I just double click on there, you can see I ended up, I went through them all, because you can just scroll through them all until you find the one that you want. And I came upon Moonlight, and I thought, boom, wow, you know, yeah, this could be an evening shot. I really like the idea of that. So I went in a different direction now. I started thinking about nighttime. And what comes out at nighttime? Well, it's the moon. So I dug into my archives and I found a picture of the moon and put it up in that top corner. And then I thought, well, it'd be nice if you had a few rays coming in, just because you do get a little bit of a shine effect coming off the moon. So what I did was I used the lighting effects, and if I just turn this on, we'll see that I've got some lighting effects now. If I turn it on and off, you'll see I've just got a little bit of a shine using the spotlight lighting effect. And that just goes underneath the moon, and it just gives a little bit of a hint that there's some moonlight, some moonbeams. I've had to put a mask on the group. I've put that in a group as well, because, well, I'll turn the mask off and I'll show you. Because I actually moved the moon afterwards, and this corner of the lighting effect moved with it. So all I did was I just dropped a mask on it, and then I softened it off and erased it from around these and just softened it off at the edges. Okay, so I've got my moon and I've got a bit of moonlight, but there's a big gap in the middle here, and I thought, well, what can I do with this? And an idea came to me of, what about a bit of a spooky tree? So again, off I went and I found myself a tree that I took when I was in Derbyshire. And if again, I'll just take the mask off and show you. It was actually looking up a hill. So there's all grass and greenery at the bottom, and then I just saw the tree at the top with a nice sky. So I cut out the sky, but this was a bit of a problem. So again, I used a mask. So I'll just put that mask back on, and you'll see that I've masked out from the bottom up, and I've got quite a soft transition now at the top. Let's have a quick look at that. So here's the mask, you can see. So I'm masking out everything at the bottom, and I've got quite a nice soft transition at the top. And then I've just tootled about here around the tree just to try and blend it in. Okay. So now I've got my tree, and it does look as though it's a bit misty now, and that some of the mist is going round the tree. So next thought was, if I've got some moonbeams, maybe there should be something where the tree is a little bit lighter. So what I did was I duplicated the tree layer, and then I lightened it using levels. And so now I've got a little bit of a light effect that just could be these moonbeams just passing through the tree. Okay. I thought there was something missing again from this top corner, so I thought I'd have a flock of birds. So here, if I switch this layer on, you'll see I've got a flock of birds here just flying out somewhere off to where they want to nest for the evening. And because they're in the distance, I thought I needed a little bit of colour in them, a little bit of atmospheric colour. So I created a solid colour layer, and I clipped it to the birds. So that now drops a little bit of colour onto the birds to fade them into the background a little bit. And also, if we look, I've dropped the opacity of the birds, because if those birds had been full opacity, they'd look too close. I want them to look as though they're in the distance, so I'm just fading them, something like that. And then the last thing I did was put a stroke round. And that's just to delineate it, and I think it looks quite nice. And I like thin strokes, maybe 3-4 pixels maximum on a high-res image, just to give it a little bit of a classic look. Well, that's it for now. That's just a quick run through of a how-to to create a creative composite in Photoshop, using layers, using blend modes, and using colour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a comment under the video, and give me a thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe. It will help me greatly if you can. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.